Breaking news on the bike front, there is a brand new Multistrada V2 from Ducati. This is replacing the old Multistrada 950. It's the smaller, more agile Multistrada and looks pretty cool.
Yeah, for this year, Ducati is focusing on making a more agile Multistrada, like Case said, but they focused on making it more comfortable, new ergonomics. They reduced some of the weight and updated the engine a little bit. There's also new bodywork. It's slightly different, but nothing crazy. You can clearly tell this is still a Multistrada, still has that beak front end. And yeah, let's jump right into talking about the engine.
Absolutely. So you've got the Testastrada 937cc engine, 113 horsepower and 71 pound-feet of torque, but it's been updated. It still has desmodromic valves. It's basically more or less the same general engine that was in the Multistrada 950 and the Supersport 950 and the Hypermotard, but they've improved it. It's got new connecting rods, a new 8-disc hydraulic clutch, an updated gearbox, and an optimized quick shifter, which makes the total engine package 4 pounds lighter. And shockingly, 3.3 of those 4 pounds came out of the clutch.
Yeah, that's a lot of weight reduction for just the clutch. Pretty impressive. Oil change on this is going to be every 9,321 miles, which
sounds like a lot.
Insanely long.
Yeah.
Valve adjustment is every 18,600 miles. So not crazy service intervals, should be pretty easy to stay on top of your maintenance. Let's talk about the chassis a little bit. The wheels were derived from the wheels they use on the Multistrada V4, and they're 3.7 pounds lighter than the wheels that came on the old Multistrada 950. All in all, the bike is 11 pounds lighter than the outgoing 950. On the standard model, it's 439 pounds, and on the more premium S model, 445 pounds, and those are all dry weights.
Now, underneath the chassis and suspension, you've got a 19-inch front wheel and you've got a 17-inch rear wheel. They're cast alloys with Pirelli Scorpion Trail 2 tires. You've also got KYB fully adjustable front forks that are 48 millimeters in diameter, and you've got Sachs fully adjustable shock in the rear, 170 millimeters of travel on both ends of the bike.
Yeah, and speaking of suspension, this bike is available with the Ducati Skyhook suspension, so it's electronically controlled, and basically it will adjust the suspension when you put a load on the bike. So whether you're just by yourself or you have two side cases full of gear or even a passenger on the back, it should be really easy to dial in your suspension and make for a good ride no matter how much weight you're carrying.
Brakes, this comes as no surprise. You get Brembo monoblock 4-piston calipers, dual 320 millimeter discs in the front, and a single 265 millimeter disc in the rear. I feel like every time a new bike comes out, they always have Brembo monoblocks.
Yeah, it seems to be a trend, and that's not a bad thing at all.
No, it's definitely not a bad thing.
They're good components. The seat height on this bike has been reduced when you compare it with the previous models, so you're now looking at 32.7 inches. The whole bike's also narrower, so that's going to make it easier to get your feet down on the ground. If you have a small inseam, it should be easier to manage this bike when compared to the outgoing model. Also, the foot pegs were lowered by about 1/2 inch, and again, that's just going to make this a more comfortable ride and make it easier to sit on this bike for a full day.
Yeah, focus on ergonomics with this type of bike is nice because this is meant to be the kind of bike that you spend a lot of time on. Another good thing for a bike that you spend a lot of time on is ABS and tech in general. So the Multistrada V2 has cornering ABS with 3 levels. Level 1 is front only, and it's non-cornering, but then you've got more expanded levels that do more for you. You've also got Ducati traction control with 8 different levels, which is a lot of different levels.
Yeah, Ducati's been throwing an insane amount of tech at their bikes recently, and I'm a huge fan of that. 8 levels is a lot to choose from, maybe a couple too many, but nevertheless, you should be able to really customize exactly how you're controlling everything on this bike. Speaking of customizing, you've got 4 riding modes. Those are Sport, Touring, Urban, and Enduro, and all of those are fully customizable as well, so you can fine-tune all the parameters and make it how you like it. And a feature I really like is the new brake light they're putting on. So what happens is if the bike notices that you are stopping very suddenly, it will actually pulse the rear brake light and flash it a little bit. And that's something I've spent couple $100 on a few bikes to install in terms of, an aftermarket taillight, because I think it's a great safety feature. So super cool that it's coming from the factory on this new Multistrada V2.
If you get the S version of the V2, you'll get a 5-inch TFT display, but if you get the standard model, you just get a basic LCD screen. A couple other items on this bike: there is a height adjustable windshield, which is again good for a motorcycle that you're going to spend a lot of time on, and a 5.2 gallon fuel tank, so good amount of fuel capacity as well. Now, we have to talk a little bit about some of the extra features that you get with a V2S. Like we mentioned, you do get the skyhook suspension. That's one of the headline features of the S model. But you also get cruise control. You get an LED headlight with adaptive cornering, and you also get the up and down quick shifter. On top of that, they give you a hands-free system and backlit handlebar controls, which it's really nice. I wish I had a bike with backlit handlebar controls.
Yeah, it's cool. My KTM actually had that little budget KTM track bike, had backlit handlebar controls.
Damn,
pretty impressive.
Premium.
Yeah, so talking about what this bike's gonna come in, you have Ducati Red, that's available in both models, or this really nice street gray, which you can see behind me. That's only on the S model. Really like the red wheels on that. I think it's a super cool look. This bike starts at $15,295. The S model starts at $17,895, and they'll be available in December 2021 here in the US and Canada, so right around the corner.
You can also option the V2S with a travel trim that gets you side cases, heated grips, and a center stand. So that's all there is to know, I would say.
Yeah, that's pretty much everything you need to know about the new Multistrada V2.
Minus the way that it rides, which, the bike isn't out yet, so...
Yeah, no one's going to know how it rides, but hopefully we'll get some seat time on one soon. It's cool to see that Ducati is continuing on with the V2. I know it's a much-loved platform, and hopefully we should see some more V2 news in the future. A lot of us are expecting a V2 Street Fighter. You can see the V4 Street Fighter up on the screen right now, but hopefully we'll see that pretty soon. We're entering news season right now, so a lot of new bikes coming our way in the next couple months. We have some news coming next week to the channel that you're going to want to stay tuned for, so make sure you don't miss out on that.
Also on the Ducati front, on their website, they have Desert X that is yet to be released. Right now there's just a silhouette of it, but they say December 9th, 2021, stay tuned, and the little silhouette that they show looks pretty badass, so I think that's going to be some cool news when that does drop.
Yeah, so let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Do you think Ducati did enough with this V2? It's basically like a clone of the V4 with a smaller engine, and I don't see a huge problem with that, but some people might want to see some real differences between the two models besides just the engine, maybe a completely different look so you can really tell the difference on the street between the V2 and the V4. So some people might be bummed about that. Doesn't bother me, but I'm curious to hear your thoughts down in the comments below. I think that's it.
Yeah, we'll catch you guys in the next video.
Next time on For a Few Bucks Less.
Now, Toby's a real expert with anything with four wheels, and he specializes in German cars, but he works on everything, which is pretty cool, right?
Anything.
I said that right?
All what kind of four-wheelers.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's some good condition fluid. That's, what we call someone's butchcraft. That's not factory.
Oh my gosh, that's very dangerous.
High temperature operation is active.
Okay.
So it means the transmission probably got too hot at one point.
Gotcha.
Did they have a squirrel up in the headliner?
Oh my gosh. Oh my. Holy smoker, that's a big oil leak.
That's what we call either a big one for a long time or a little one for a long time.
Which of the three is best and which is the worst?
I would say the best for the price that was spent would have been the